Hello? Hello? Welcome to your first night at the Party of Two podcast. I'm one of your hosts, the Internet's Mark Donica.
And I am the other host of the Internet's Andrea Donica.
We decided to pre-record this message for you because you'd be taking on the night shift. Tonight we're going to be talking about some spooky animatronics. Not really, we're just going to be talking about animatronics in general. Because this concept evolved a couple times. It's like, oh, let's do some like spooky animatronics. Other people have talked about that. All right, let's do another concept that didn't work out, which ended up just becoming, hey, what animatronics would we invite to a party?
Yeah.
Like if we were holding a party, if we were holding a monster mash, if you will, and all of those monsters were robotic, what sort of a party would we be having? And if you recognize the top of the show, recently, Andrea has been introduced to the world of Five Nights at Freddy's through some Let's Plays. I've been a big fan of the world of the story and all of the lore and all of the ridiculous things that happen, and that's about mostly haunted animatronics. There's a movie coming out, and then on top of that, did you ever watch the Banana Splits as a kid?
I
no?
don't know.
Okay, so Banana Splits was a show from the 60s that there was some what's the word when you replay television? I can't think of the word.
Replay, like you recording something? Oh, okay.
Syndication is the word I was looking for. So it was syndicated. I think Turner owned it for a while. Mm-hmm. There was a Banana Splits short that played on Cartoon Network / Boomerang that you might have seen. So the reason
I only remember Bananas in Pajamas. Bananas in Pajamas.
We're gonna get sued.
Coming down the stairs.
We're gonna get picked up by
that's
the YouTube people. So, but I bring up the Banana Splits to say, so the Five Nights at Freddy's movie has been in developmental heck, not necessarily hell, but heck. It's at Blumhouse now.
I'd imagine if you were a part of that cast and crew, it would feel more than heck.
Possibly. There's been a lot of looks at what the animatronics might look at, and it's terrifying. But Sci-Fi, to get ahead of it, essentially took the Five Nights at Freddy's concept with animatronics coming to life to kill you and put the Banana Splits in those positions of the terrifying animatronics. So they're animatronics of the Banana Splits, which used to be costume characters. So it's bringing in fans from the old, like whoever used to watch them in the 60s or as a kid or whatever. So animatronics have kind of been in the collective consciousness. We were raised with them, not just at Disneyland, but at like family restaurants, all sorts of stuff. And so there's a lot of animatronics that I'm sure have plagued your mind, whether positively or negatively.
Sure. There's plenty.
So when it comes to a Halloween party, how much spookiness do you want versus like just a good time?
I mean, I prefer having a good time, and I don't really like to be scared all that much. I like a little bit of a scare for an attraction. I don't want to be continuously scared for an extended period of time. I don't know if my heart could take like walking through a haunted maze. I mean, the most intense thing that I did was the Mummy maze back in Universal Studios Hollywood, and not that wasn't a Halloween Horror Nights event. That was just the walkthrough sort of thing.
The daily, sort of what The Walking Dead is now.
Yeah.
It's sort of a year-round maze.
And the only reason why I went through that is because I loved the Mummy movies. But very stressful. Very, very stressful. For a Halloween party, I'd like to have some scares, some spookums, though, truth be told, I'll even lean towards more family-friendly spookum type things. I've done Harry Potter themed Halloween parties in the past because that's much more appealing to me.
that's as quote spooky. Like it's one thing. I saw a list. I should have clicked on it, but it was like top Halloween movies for people that love Halloween but don't love to be scared. And it wasn't just like Halloween Town or The Nightmare Before Christmas, but it was some other stuff that I could see from the like display image. But yeah, Halloween and that sort of idea of being okay with the darkness and candlelight and the basic
The
witch
feel.
yeah, the feel, especially I would say for us now being in two very sunshine forward states, just the
Yeah.
concept of like a moody evening.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
This sounds good.
I like that. I like the concept of gothic romance. Like, for example, one of my favorite stories is Dracula.
Dracula. And is that Bram Stoker's?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Dracula is reinvented so often by so many different people. Like, Bram Stoker's is kind of the basis that everyone uses, but people always have their different takes, and that really fascinates me too. It's kind of like Shakespeare. It gets reinvented over and over again, depending on a director's or a writer's concept of what it is. I love thrillers. I don't love blood and gore, and I don't love seeing like rotted flesh, for example.
Suspense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. Guilty pleasure of mine was Pretty Little Liars. I was totally let down for the ending of that show multiple times. But I still like that concept. I'm watching Riverdale, which has gone into all sorts of weird directions. And there are times where I go, do the writers have a plan for where this is going? They probably have a light one. I don't know if they really have a clear indication of how they're going to wrap up certain things, but it's exciting to just be like, who did what? Like, what was the cause of this murder? Who should I be suspicious of? I like that sort of suspenseful things. I don't like, I'm a zombie and I'm going to eat out your brains. I don't want to see like fake blood squirting around everywhere. I don't want to see like fake guts and stuff. And I know that it's not real, but I'm squeamish. I don't like it.
Yeah, I had a rough time during I just remembered this the other day. The not Death Proof, but Planet Horror, which was the second movie of the Grindhouse movie. It was essentially a zombie movie, and even just the first thing of a little bit of a gory thing near the top at the doctor's office sent me like, okay, I'm just gonna hang out in the hallway in case I need to. I watched the majority of the movie from the hallway, just being like, I need a second. I used to watch medical shows, and that seemed okay because there was sort of like a tie there of, oh, this makes sense and blah blah blah. I don't know. It was weird. So sort of transitioning back into our concept where we're going to be hosting this Halloween party. Before we get to the people we are going to invite, you say you don't like scary. You don't want people to sort of. So who wouldn't you invite? What animatronics would you be like, like they're maybe like they're people that you wouldn't even put on the invite list? Not necessarily people or creatures, because we're talking about robots here.
I mean, I don't want to be prejudiced against any animatronics that might want to come to the party.
It's a certain thing.
I want it to be like a big house Monster Mash party.
So sure, but even then, we know we've gone through the invitation phase of like art planning for our wedding. We knew exactly the people that we wanted to come, and then we were like, well, we should invite these people, and then you're like, do you want to invite them? No. And then we would give so that's what I'm trying to pull from.
Okay, Beetlejuice would not be on the list.
Where's the Beetlejuice?
He is part of a former attraction that no longer exists today.
Was that
a dark ride with some gremlins, which were also going to be
the
on
Movie World Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice is already scary enough as like a walk around character, and very pervy. So pervy. And I
Yeah,
mean,
you had some. You're not
Ugh.
necessarily super comfortable with.
Yeah, I guess that's also like connected to my own personal trauma. Basically, when I was 12, Beetlejuice was literally chasing me around the entrance of Universal Studios Hollywood, being like, "Hey, baby," and I couldn't find my family, and I was just like, "I need to get out of here. I want to go into the park, and I want to be away from this weirdo." And literally every single time Beetlejuice would see me, because I got a pass, and I would go multiple times a week, he would find me. Wherever the hell I was, Beetlejuice would find me and harass me a bit.
I would like to hope that it's not the same person.
I mean, we all know that there are multiple people that get cast for playing these walk-around roles, but sometimes you just really feel it in your soul that it is the same person, and that is 100% what I felt for the couple of interactions that I had.
Woof. So I'm gonna go with a group,
Okay.
and that's the mining company from Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, first of all, you'll have to explain everything. You're like, what's this contraption? And you'll have to explain everything. They'll probably have some evidence of sulfur, so they're not going to smell great. They're not going to smell great anyway. There's
arsenic in their system. You can tell it for the wildness that's in their eyes.
There's so much, and you know, there are guys doing the job. They're just men out of time.
Yeah.
There are folks out of time, and that's all right. But I don't want them at our party because first of all, that almost doubles the count. You know, like I'm not even thinking of somebody specifically, but that whole mining group is terrifying. And
They're
a group
scary.
that I wouldn't necessarily have. Let's do one more round of this. Who else is either too scary or like you who don't you want at this party?
I probably would not want to invite the alien from extraterrestrial alien encounter.
He's one of those guys that would probably find a way in anyway.
This is true.
So it's like,
I don't even know if I should try to not invite him. In fact, that might just upset him even more. But I also would be fearful for the safety of our guests. You know, even if we're going to be inviting some spookums, like, you want to know that people are still going to have a good time and that there isn't somebody that's going to purposefully come in there and just trash the place.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like just by the alien's nature, he isn't like an alien you'd be able to reason with, to just be like, hey, can you just like chill out for a second and like have some punch or whatever. Nah, he'd be like drooling all over everybody.
Yeah, it's a lot of extra cleanup.
It's just, it's a lot of extra work just for one guest. Yeah. And I mean, he'd be embarrassed, I'd be embarrassed, and it would just kind of be a rough time for everybody involved.
Nobody comes out of there looking good.
Yeah. So no offense to him. I'm just trying to make it easier.
No, legit. No, that's a legit reason. I'm going to have to go with somebody fairly new to the world of audio animatronics, and that's Mr. Hondo Onaka. You're not super familiar with Hondo as a character, only kind of in the aspect of the parks. I think we watched one episode of Clone Wars with Hondo, and that was before he like came back in Rebels. Like, this was a while ago. So modern Hondo,
I'd be afraid he'd rob me, honestly.
That's what I was going to say. Like, not just rob you, but he would probably go through your medicine cabinets and go, oh, I could use one of this. I could probably use some of this. And, you know, it's something, and like repurpose it, and then you'd see it in the queue for in Onaka Transport, or what's the name of his company? Regardless, Onaka Transport Solutions or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So I also think he'd probably bring a bunch of people without telling you.
Yeah.
Like, the party would be BYOB, but he would just be the like, I'm gonna make them go out and get more beer because I'm gonna make sure all of my folks are taken care
And
of.
then he would be disingenuous about how much the booze would cost. So
Oh,
he'd
yeah.
be making some extra money on the side when people would be paying up for the booze run in the first place.
He would suggest the most expensive stuff, and then by the time they came back and people started collecting money, he wouldn't have any.
Yeah.
It's like, but you want, well, yeah, because it's the best, but I mean, I'm going to have some. So yeah, those are some. Who wouldn't you want to show up at your Halloween party? Let us know at Party of Two Pod, because we're trying to build this out and make sure that everybody's lists are kind of syncing up. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into a party, and we've talked about it a little bit in why we wouldn't want people to be there. So main thing at a party, tunes. What I mean, people might assume there's actually a lot of just most of Disney stuff is musical. So there's a lot of possible DJs. There's a lot of possible musically inclined animatronics. Who's going to be running the ones and twos at your party?
I mean, you kind of set this up for me perfectly.
I did, but I mean, you could go a lot of places with it.
It's got to be DJ Rex, man. He's my boy.
Okay,
He's
all right.
he's got some hot tunes, some a pretty solid playlist that I feel is versatile and all different types could get down to and boogie.
Make sure to boogie.
And he'd also be open to requests, I feel. If you came to him and you're like, I don't know if people are like digging this vibe, but could you play like this song or this song? And I'm pretty sure he would have the versatility and the openness to just be like, yeah, sure. Let me find that.
So I really did think a lot about this.
Okay.
I was like, do I want any combination of the Country Bears? And I was like, Big Al, but he'll just be a little bit too sad. Blood on the Saddle, it could be repurposed as a Halloween tune,
Yeah.
but I'm like, not quite that. I was like, what about the Shaman of Songs? But then it's like it seems like they would be all over the place, and they would take up a lot of space. We have a pretty small apartment. Like they would bring their whole setup, and it would take up half of the space of our apartment.
Just them physically being in our apartment would be difficult.
And all of their instruments.
I will say though, for all of my plans, I was not factoring in us in our actual apartment.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I'm going. So I would just say basic apartment. One 2-bedroom apartment.
I was envisioning like a giant house party,
Oh,
man.
Sure, giant house. Yeah, that's what I'm. But even so, then
Teddy Bear could be swinging on a chandelier or something.
Going back to the Shaman of Songs, all of their stuff is acoustic, so it can't reach the entire house.
Gotcha.
So something too. I was like, what about Cosmic Ray? But I'm like, all of his stuff is really dated. What about if Rocket Raccoon brings the tape player, but then that's just a tape worth of stuff that you're playing over and over and over again. All right, so what sets the
Our
mood?
friends would like that playlist, though.
Yeah, but only for like an hour.
Yeah.
There are only so many times they could sing Born to Be Wild, and you'd be
That's true.
surprised. I gotta go with the organist from the Haunted Mansion.
That's a really good draw, and that would be like such a centerpiece for the
ambience.
party.
And that's one. So I would say this about all of the other. This is weird because I'm kind of in universe of it's a ghost robot ghost, whatever. But they won't need to eat regardless. But if they're all ghosts, then it's like there's even less of a carbon footprint. Like they're whatever. It's all cool. So but that's who I would have for my music would be the organist from the Haunted Mansion.
That's a great pick.
That's why I'm like, I told you, I thought a lot about this. There's a lot of stuff. And when it comes to there's a very important part of anything for us corporeal beings, and that's food.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be some people that bring a little bit more. Some people might offer to cook. Is there a particular food-based animatronic? or something, or an animatronic that you could imagine like bringing the best appetite, or like something.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want time to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go with yours first.
There is, without a doubt, the first animatronic that came into my mind that I want to take, well, maybe not take care of all of the food, but the majority of the food, is a one Mr. Pasquale from Chuck E. Cheese, the singing
Right.
Italian chef. Because you get pizza, you get pasta, you get like real thick, hearty food, and it's a party, so people are gonna be drinking, and you're gonna want to absorb that with bread. And pizza is arguably the best bread. So why not have an animatronic like Pasquale sing while he can sing and harmonize? Well, not harmonize with the organist because they're playing the organ, but yeah, Pasquale would be my pick because pizza rules, and it's literally in his nature and literally programmed into his circuits.
I don't feel like I can top that.
No?
No. Like, that seems really perfect.
So well, let's think about it then. Let's look at so consider. Oh no, there's a wonderful. You know, you got me thinking. So Pasquale, very perfect choice. But what if you have a higher class of guest? What if the palate is so refined that they can't handle I'll give it a 4 level pizza of Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Okay. Bonnie Appetit could, in theory, put on a really great meal for a higher caliber of guests. And she also has those freakish doll eyes, so she would just be an attraction in of herself. The one thing that I have a problem with Bonnie Appetit is that she never actually explains how she cooks anything, and you never see her actually prepare food. So I don't know if she actually knows how to cook. So
maybe more of a glorified waitress.
Possibly.
So, but you have to have somebody who has real chef experience, real kitchen experience, somebody who can run a Michelin star level kitchen.
But is he an animatronic?
Yes.
Oh.
Remy, little chef. That made appearances in Epcot, and there also
That's right. Little chef.
Also are ones in I think there is one in the ride, but there was a walk around animatronic that would come with a specific cheese plate.
Part of the Living Character Initiative. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
I wish we had seen him in person.
Same.
I hope that
maybe they bring him back with the ride.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be awesome.
Now, so we've got our food taken care of. We've got Pasquale, Remy, and Bonnie Appetit, who's just making sure that everybody's eating, busting into song just to kind of get her from place to place.
Mr. Dairy Goods can sing backup for her,
We've got it took me a second to remember who the hell Bonnie Appetit was. So we've got our food. We've got our music. What about drinks? Who's the partier? Who is the animatronic that knows how to make a Manhattan? Who knows how to make all of the sweet cocktails that we earthly beings crave? Like I said earlier in the show, we kept changing sort of the concept of what this episode is. So who do you think?
Guys, I was trying to make a spoof of Monster Mash, and I tried really hard.
We were both trying, and then it was like, oh, this is not really specific.
I got like a quarter of the way through, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty good start. And then I'm like, oh no, now they're just listing off names of characters. This isn't what I wanted to do. Shoot, drinks?
Drinks?
A mixologist?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'd have to go with a tiki bird, perhaps.
Who do you think might bring the best stuff?
Well, now I'm trying to think of the logistics of a bird trying to, like, carry 2 gallons of, like, orange juice, for example.
Or rum.
But Jack isn't going to mix anything.
No, well, not necessarily mix, but if it is
Jack will have good rum, though.
That's the thing. We've established it's a BYOB party that we don't want Hondo Anaka to come to, but we invite some of these Pirates of the Caribbean over, and we have some of the best stash. Somehow everybody walks away with a jewel, a little bit implicit of whatever crime they may have committed, and you come off feeling a little bit more dangerous than you did.
That's true. Which Jack are we going for? Is it the one at the end whose face is always messed up? Or is this Gropey Jack at the beginning? Or is this Barrel Jack?
Allow me to tell you the tale of Gropey Jack. I don't know. Probably the one at the beginning trying to run from the cops.
So Gropey Jack.
So he comes in like halfway through the party, just like, yeah, I've been here the whole time, alibi, like all sorts of stuff like that. But yeah, we've got a rum fueled pizza and French pizza type of party. Now, who else are we like? We've got the basics covered. Is there anything else that makes a party a party?
So for me, a party is not a party without some drama and some movement, okay? So
where are you going?
I want all of the Yetis from the different parks to come down and visit. So we've got Mr. Yeti in Anandapur. He has not been moving for over a decade
so how's it gonna
now.
get to the party?
I want him to get his groove back, and I was hoping that if he goes and sees Harold moving around, and then Mr. Yeti from Knott's Berry Farm moving around, even though those two are kind of hiding behind a rock and you don't see the lower half of their body, so it's questionable if they have legs or even a bottom, perhaps just their gyrations of their upper torso and arms would spark the life back into Mr. Yeti of Anandapur and get the groove back in Expedition Everest. And I think that could be really inspiring for the whole party, and just everybody could come together and be like, yeah, this is cool and this is creepy and weird, but
you don't think people would be scared of getting on the dance floor and getting stomped?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you have 2 Yetis that you don't see the legs to, so you might not get stomped at all. They might just be, like, in their corner.
Not stomped,
with rocks.
but stumped. They'll just be in the corner.
That's what you're gonna hear. Constant, like, blowing of
and
air.
then let's hear from the Yeto from Amandapur. 'Cause it's broken. Oh, please don't come back. But okay, so we've got, so you wanted to sort of bring this sort of story. What if, interesting. So every party needs drama. Wow, you watch a lot of Freeform.
Oh, hey, no, I do not. Don't you dare say that. And I have not watched Freeform
since Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, I am not watching the secondary series. I'm not.
I want to prank our friends, and I want to invite that Bell animatronic, though, which is one of the most lifelike, realistic animatronics, and just be like, wow, that's a really great Bell costume. And then she's like, hi, I'm Belle.
And then Beast is going to show up, and then they're going to be like, oh, dude, like, how long was he sitting in the chair for? Like, that must have taken forever.
And then Belle's going to look at all the Yetis and go, I'm confused.
Oh. What
is this feeling?
I would throw something at you right now if I could. How dare you?
Please don't. All right, this is shaping up to be a bit of a party so far.
And then we have to invite Mr. Lincoln to come.
So I wanted to. I'm really worried that he'll just start drinking and won't stop talking. Like he'll just be thinking about some of the best. Hey, man, when I gave that speech, like he'll just be waxing poetic about today's political scene and how different it was then and how he doesn't identify with any of that stuff. Like I thought about, I was like, just for the thought, the idea of being able to interact with some form of Abraham Lincoln. But I'm like, so then I flipped it and I went, no. Who's a cheeky little guy that I would, wow. Who's a cheeky scamp from American history who is immortalized in animatronic form at the parks that I would love to have at a party? Big fan of his books, given some material that hasn't aged well. Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain. And then, see, because then by the end of the night, we'll both be really drunk and we'll go in for a handshake and we won't quite make contact.
Yeah, you can invite him. Ben Franklin is not to be invited.
He's another one of those talkers, man.
Oh, no, he's just a pervert. I don't want him around my lady friends.
You know who we should invite, but who won't come? Huh. Buzzy. Moving on.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. I want Stitch to come.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
I know it's dangerous, but you know what? He's so cute. And maybe, I mean, he would be the life of the party. We don't know what direction the party would go in, but it would be an exciting element. And I feel that we already have enough wild cards that it might just balance it all out.
You know, you're talking about drama. You know who I would want to invite. And you know who I totally, flip. All right. So while giving the organist a break, you know what would turn the house upside down? Sebastian and the entire underwater orchestra just like, all right, guys, like, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it, but I'm going to take a break. All right, here's some replacement thing. And just then it turns into this the vibe completely changes, and then everybody's drunk enough to be like, yeah, we're just gonna, it just turns into a rager with all these fish like just playing wild. Mr. Limpet shows up.
I also want to invite to round out the party a little bit more, all of the residents from Dry Gulch in Frontierland over in Disneyland Paris, because
Big Thunder Mesa.
Thunder Mesa, yes.
Excuse me.
But the town is Dry Gulch.
Yeah.
They know how to put on a party. And I think that they could, bring their skeleton heads and bones to, you've got the little xylophone going, and then you've got the characters from the saloon. So they could probably bring some really good whiskey with them too.
Yeah, some aged whiskeys.
And I mean, they're not going to be able to realistically drink it. Like, they have the memory of drinking it, and I don't know if ghosts can experience ghost whiskey, in which case everybody would win.
Yo, I want to get on that ghost whiskey.
But what a wicked bartender you could have of someone just just a corporeal ghost just pouring you a scotch.
So we're starting to get a little crazy,
But the Phantom has to be there with his bloodhound.
I was afraid of including the
invite
Phantom.
People to come into the entrance. As long as we're not his daughter, we're good. We're not part of his family, so he's chill. He's not going to mess with us. The only thing that he cared about doing was making sure that his poor daughter never got married. And we ain't part of his lineage, so we don't need to worry about that.
So do we invite Constance? Probably not. Probably not.
I mean, she doesn't have to get married anymore. And she's got all of that stuff in the attic, so she's
bodies.
One. I mean,
what if hey,
what is her unfinished business?
Well, no, here's a thought. What if by the end of the night the Phantom and Constance hook up? And then they're both like, "Oh, we found love."
In a hopeless place.
And then they fade away because their unfinished business has been finished. The ghost hookup.
They would be perfect for each other. But they're on opposite ends of the world, Mark. We
But
have
they come
to invite
together,
them
they come
to our
together for this
party.
party. This is where we make Matchmaker. We've done it before.
We really have.
I thought of another great musical act that I just personally want to see play live, the Three Caballeros. But I think we've got the music situation. We've got the organist to set the vibe.
I mean,
for the first part of
everyone can take a turn if they want. I mean, a proper
so
party
here's my
spaces it
problem
out.
now.
Yeah.
Is now we've got Yetis, we've got an entire sea folk orchestra, we've got ghosts, we've got a lot of this is a big bouncing party. So we need a little bit of authority. We need a little bit of cred to come to enable to. You're looking at me real weird. Why are you looking at me weird? Right?
Me?
We need somebody to talk to the cops. So what I'm thinking of is we have John from the Carousel of Progress, America's dad, who shows that he likes to have a good time or two, who ends up being our person. Well, we're just having a good time here in the turn of the century in the early 2000s, and he talks to the cops for us, and then maybe even the cops come in and they have a nice time. Who knows? But I imagine we have to have some sort of cool head helping us out at the party in case it gets a little bit too wild. And I think John, literally being America's dad, could help.
That is like the best fail safe I have ever heard. That's brilliant. Absolutely. And like maybe even his son could come out, with his Wolfman costume and just kind of chill things down, just make everybody feel at home.
Yeah.
One other thing, to really step up the Halloween party to the next Halloween level, I think we should put together some sort of a spooky area maze type thing, just in the backyard, you know, and maybe we could get some of the spiders from Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. You got Aragog in there for kind of like the grand finale. Just kind of like interspersed. And they're cool. Like, they're not going to touch you. They might squirt at you and just be like, huh! But you're not going to die. You're not going to get eaten. Like, everything is understood. They're chill. And if we need backup, we can also have Hagrid actually just keep an eye on things, and if anybody does get into trouble, he can kind of be managing the whole situation, kind of Triwizard Tournament hedge maze style.
Yeah.
So that would be a nice backup.
Throw a couple of the mummies in there from the various mummy attractions.
Oh yeah.
No, they ruled. Or the aliens from Alien Attack.
True.
There's some good stuff in. There's we're not putting a lot of Universal in here, but there's some pretty.
We would just end up doing like a best of Universal maze.
But they're also fairly standard. I'd be worried of putting the Whomping Willow anywhere near this party.
Yeah. No, Whomping Willow is not safe for this
so
situation.
far, we're sort of creating the fiction that these animatronics become real or become what they represent. So the stuff from the Harry Potter ride, or from Forbidden Journey anyway, is like, this is all some pretty dangerous stuff, like the Dementors. Like,
we can't have the Dementors there. They can't be trusted.
Or similarly to like the Jurassic Park ride, that's a space issue.
Well, and I don't want to keep the dinos out, because I feel like the dinos would be amazing to have there. And you don't want to not invite Mrs. T-Rex to the party. Like,
Mrs. or Ms.?
Mrs.
Okay, all right, fair.
Don't we know the lore? I mean, they're animatronics, so they don't have. Do they have gender? Do they aspire to gender? This is a whole new conversation that I'm not prepared to go down.
It's a different one.
Yeah. No, we're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, I want her there. I want her there in some fashion. We need to get a much bigger place.
Dude, you invited all the Yetis, so like you have a much better idea of how big this place is.
For me, it's go big or go home, and we need to go home to a giant mansion. Apparently,
A variety of Yetis.
yes.
No, this. We try to ride the line of like a PG-13 sort of a show, like a family-friendly show, but I just wanted to offer this option. There was a Universal animatronic that I think would be a wonderful, wonderful addition to this party. It starts to get a little bit late. We're used to certain parties where a small group of people would sort of go off into the side and partake in various states in what would be a completely legal transaction.
Yeah, of course.
And so I think Botanicus has to come.
Oh my gosh!
Like imagine,
yes.
and without going too blue with it, he probably has some good stuff.
I mean, basically all of the creatures from the Green Planet are terrifying and fun at the same time.
My dude.
Yeah.
So we're starting to sort of fade out of this party.
Take some nice relaxing naps.
So as this starts to die down, we're coming to the end of Pasquale's Pizza. Sebastian's band has finished the sort of big rager part of it. Do we have you know what? We're post Botanicus.
Mm-hmm.
We are post Sebastian and his music. I think this is where the Shaman of Songs comes in.
Okay.
Leads a rad drum circle to whoever wants to take part, and everybody's kind of chilling and just sort of letting their various effects sort of fade out, and they're either staying for the night or responsibly getting a Lyft, Uber, or rideshare home. I think that's sort of how the party ends. We lost sight of Stitch a while ago. He probably went to another party. The Phantom and Constance, they ran upstairs a while ago, and everybody just kind of goes, nice. Yeah. So like, we're starting to fade out.
Hatbox Ghost has to preside over their wedding.
We're not even there. We're still at our.
No, but I'm just planning for
You're going way like we just got to stage 1 with this relationship.
I ship this so hard now. I am fully invested in this relationship.
And I think that you know what, as we fade out, the Shaman of Songs is kind of done. As we rise up on the sun of November 1st, we get a little bit no, because it doesn't count. No, I just went into pure fantasy for a moment, and it has no place. I hope, with some certain rumors about various attractions that may be coming to Disney parks, that my perfect end to the night will become a reality. But that's going to have to wait for another Halloween party. I think this was a pretty successful party, don't you?
Yeah, I think this was pretty rad. I'm kind of sad it's over.
Well, I mean, I guess we could just listen to the show again.
I guess so.
Let us know what you thought of the party. Who would you invite? Did you see things going differently? There's a lot of musical acts in various parks. Like, we could have gone with the Rock-afire Explosion. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there in the world of animatronicity. So are you thinking of something?
We're gonna have to plan a Christmas party.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining this episode. If you have any comments, tips, tricks, whatever, if you want to support the show, make sure to head on over to anchor.fm/party-of-two-pod. If you're watching this on YouTube, please check us out on Anchor. It's a lot more convenient for you, and we're sort of using this as a platform. But you can find your podcast provider of choice there. You can also, if you like this and you want to help support the show, there is a way to sign up for a paid subscription. It's sort of regularly monthly. We would really appreciate it. It would really help us out. But what also would really help us out is if you go head over to our TeePublic as well, tpublic.com/party-of-two-pod. We just put up some new designs. We have a Main Street Electrical Parade farewell tour shirt, and excuse me, and a Dreamfinder and Dragons t-shirt. It's I can't believe no one's done it yet.
Yeah.
I hope ours sort of catches fire. If you can't afford it, spread the word. Maybe somebody really likes it and can pick it up, because that would really help us out too. Thank you so much for joining us. You can also follow us on our personal social media accounts. Andrea, where can the fine folks follow you?
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at DoleWhipDrea.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mark B. Donica. There's a lot that's going to be going down from here to Halloween. We've got one more until that most dreaded day arrives. And we hope that you'll be joining us on the next ride.